Hey, this is Danny from the Magic Our Way podcast, and you guys are listening to the BS Podcast Network.
This podcast brought to you by OuchThatHurts.com. Visit Ouch That Hurts for music, gaming, reviews, editorials, podcasts, and more. OuchThatHurts, HERTZ.com.
And hello everyone, and thank you for loading up another episode of the Sabled Podcast. It is me, not Dan, with not Dan. But, well, actually everyone's out actually at the moment, both Tuesday and Dan. It's just me, Jesus, and Steve.
Yo, what's up?
So, what normally we would say what we've been playing. But there's something actually that's been on my mind a little bit. Two questions, Steve.
Yeah.
So, well, I know the answer for this one, but what's the longest game series / franchise that you've been playing for the longest?
That is definitely the Fallout series. Yeah. No surprise there.
No surprise there. Like for me, I would say it would be the Pokemon series, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But no, yeah. The reason I'm asking that is because then the second question I have is, what single game, doesn't matter if it's console, PC, or mobile, what is the one single game you have played the most of? This can be time put in or like overall years been on it.
Well, I was looking at my Steam gaming a while back and seeing like what, because it tracks how many hours you put into certain games. And I think I've put the most hours into Fallout 4. And I think right behind that was Fallout New Vegas, because I've played through that one twice. So yeah, it's definitely those. I've put hours and hours and hours into those games. Yeah, but you know, a second ago you were talking about Pokemon, and do you know what year they came out on the Game Boy for Red and Blue? Do you know that off the top of your head?
For the Americas?
Yeah.
I believe 1992.
92
for the Americas.
Okay. Because I did buy that. I did buy. I think I had Pokemon Red, or I still have Pokemon Red somewhere. And now I'm trying to think if I bought that before or after Fallout 1. Because the original Fallout came out in, and I'm looking it up right now, I think it was 97. I think I might, it's really, I might have gotten both of them in the same year, actually.
Interesting.
Let's see, released 97 for DOS, Windows, and Macintosh. Yeah, so Fallout came out in 97, and I definitely got that right when it came out. But Pokemon, like that one I did not get right away because I didn't know what it was, and like I had a cousin that was playing it, and I was like, what is that? And he was like, oh, it's this game. And I was like, oh, nerd. And then I started playing it, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And then I went and bought it myself.
All right. And I'll correct myself right now.
Uh-huh.
The Americas got Red and Blue in 1998.
Oh, okay. So I definitely got Fallout a year before Pokemon. So, but I have like purchased every single Fallout, and I have not purchased every single Pokemon. I'm not crazy.
Damn, that just like overstated mine, because I think I own every single copy, every version of the game.
Oh, that's awesome.
But so the reason I bring up this topic is I was talking with a coworker, and we were just talking games, and he was talking about this the mobile game he enjoys, and I've been thinking like mobile games have been like kind of the casual thing for the everyday person now.
Sure.
And I went back and looked at a specific game that I've been playing for a good amount of time, and I didn't really think about it. The game is called Valkyrie Crusade. It's a card-based dungeon crawler.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing it since about May of 2013.
Okay.
And I didn't really think about it around that time. And I went back and looked at the app because you can look it up and see when the game was officially released.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I've been playing it only 3 months after it's released, and it's been almost like, what is it now? Why can't I do math?
6 years? If you said 13?
Yeah, I've been playing this game for 6 years, like continuously, every day, like doing the dungeons, collecting cards, and I didn't really think about it. And it's one of those freemium games where you can purchase some the in-game currency and stuff like that, and I was surprised in myself that this is the one single game that I've been playing for the most part at a regular basis. I log in to get my dailies and just do the events.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it's like I haven't really thought about it until I saw because I like when I was really thinking about this game, I thought it came out before then, but no, I picked it up just as it came out, and I've been like one of the forefront people playing it. Yet I'm still like lackluster at it compared to some of the other people that play it. But like it's interesting to kind of then look at some of the games that we've enjoyed over the time, all the franchise we've adored. We kind of got into it last week, a little bit of that. But it's good to kind of think back on some of these things.
Yeah, for sure. I was just looking at my phone. I've got I've got a games folder, and I was just looking through to see the oldest one that I've got that I know it's been installed in like several of my iPhones, and I think it's iFarkle. Which, okay. I don't even know if does it still work on this version?
Does it still work? That's
like, let's see. I don't want to reset my stats. Can I? Okay. One player game. It still works. Okay, cool. So it's just a dice rolling game. You roll 6 dice, and then like a 1 or a 5, or a 1 is worth 100 points, a 5 is worth 50 points. And then if you get like 4 6s, and that's 1,200 points. Like it just, and then you re-roll, and if you bust, if you make a roll and you don't get any points, and you lose all of your points,
Oh,
okay. It's just as fun. It's a real dice game that I had played in real life a bunch, and then I found this I was like, oh, here's like a free app for it, and I've had it installed ever since. And every now and then I'll go back to it and just play it for a while. So. But not 6 years worth of playing for sure. No, I don't play it daily.
Hey, I put in my effort. I've done the game I'm talking about in specific. They do like monthly events, the company's doing a really good job in this one game. Like there's always something to do. There's always new cards to get, different events. And since it does that weird like ranking things where some cards are better than others, and sometimes some people think you have to like pay to get some of the better cards because of the loot box mechanic.
Sure.
But they gave you the ability to acquire these through just gameplay, and that's one of the things I think I've enjoyed in the past years. Like I don't have to really like do the loot boxes. Like I just got to do the events, and I can get myself some super rare or legendary cards and continue to boost my deck, if I would say.
Nice. I Googled it because I want to know what this is all about. First of all, don't Google this while you're at work if you want to look at images, because there's a lot of fun artwork. Yes. But according to Google Play, which they have, it's like their app store. Valkyrie Crusade, it's an anime style TCG X builder game, so a trading card game and a builder game. It has a 4.3 out of 5 rating, and it says here that there are over 9 million users. So this is quite popular for something that I've never heard of. And it was last updated February 26th. So it is, like you say, it's continually being updated and supported and all that. So that's interesting. That's cool, man. Right on.
Yeah. So for all the listeners, let us know some of the franchises, the games that you guys been playing. Join our Discord or tweet at us or go on Facebook. Things a lot. We've been getting a little bit more heavy on our Facebook and Twitter a little bit more. So look into that, because we actually recently started putting clips of our shows now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Hey, that's kind of the reason I wanted to take the lead a little bit. It's because the clip said so. But yeah. But no, yeah. Just take the wheel. But yeah, look, we're starting to move forward with the podcast, and I'm happy about that, because we've been partnering with Ouch That Hurts, and then we're on the BS Podcast Network. There's a lot that this specific show is doing, and I want to take a moment to cheers for Dan and Tuesday.
Cheers.
And but yeah, let's this is a gaming podcast, so let's talk a little bit about the news.
Wait, we're not gonna do what we've been playing?
Yeah, that's kind of all I've been playing is Valkyrie Crusade. I've been kind of dealing with internet issues.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So Steve, what have you been playing?
Well, I put Anthem down, not like permanently, but I decided to take a little break from it, and I decided to get back into management simulators, because apparently that's what I like. I was looking through YouTube the other day, and a random video popped up. It was recommended. It was like the top 10 management simulators, and I looked at the little clip, and I was like, hey, I know most of these games, and so I watched it, and I was like, oh man, I've played like 8 out of these top 10, and I really like them all. Is this my favorite genre? What? Management simulators. So I popped into one of my favorite ones, one of my more favorite ones, I guess, Prison Architect. So that was available. It's available through Steam. I think it's also on the Xbox now. I don't know if it's on PS or Nintendo stuff. I have no idea. But you build a little prison, and what's interesting is I've been a part of Prison Architect, or it's been part of me for a long time, because I paid to be in like the not the beta, but I guess it was the beta, but it was the thing that they do on Steam where like you could buy it.
Early access.
Early access. Thank you. Yes, that's what I was looking for. I was early access on that. I played through like the betas. The two creators, or the two guys in charge, are these two British guys, and they would put out like hour-long YouTube videos every time a new version came out of them explaining like all the changes they did and like how it affects gameplay and all this stuff. And I played it when it was like just playable, and it was fun, and I've like kept track of it through the years, and they've added quite a bit to it, and now it's been purchased by Paradox Interactive. Which is they do a lot, but recently what we've talked about on this podcast is Stellaris. So anyways, I popped on that. I re-downloaded it from Steam because I had it uninstalled, and I've put in like, I don't know, 20 hours into it or something this last week. just like staying up till 1, 2 in the morning, just building prisons and keeping my inmates, relatively happy. And so yeah, I've been doing a lot of that. A lot of Prison Architect. Highly recommend it. It's a great simulation, management simulator, I guess. But you build the prison by, like, you assign workers, and you have a prison, and you have to build little cells, and however many inmates you want to try to keep, and you have to keep them fed and happy, otherwise they'll riot and kill your guards, and it's a whole thing. It's there's a research tree. It's a lot of fun. I really like it. But beyond that, I also played a little bit of a mobile game, and it came from some other list that I found online, and it was like top 10 mobile games of 2019 or some horseshit like that. And so I looked through because I'm always looking for good mobile games because I find a lot of average mobile games. Like I haven't really been able to be like hooked on a mobile game. Like I've gone through like, playing them for like a week or two, but then they always kind of go by the wayside. So this one said, and it sounded interesting, it was called Snakebird Primer. I was like, that's an interesting name. So I clicked on that and they're like, this is a primer game to prepare you for how to play the original Snakebird, which everyone said was way too hard, is essentially what it was. And it's a puzzle game. And I was like, okay, well, so I looked it up on the iOS store and it was like $8. And I was like, I'm not spending $8 on a game that I know nothing about. So then I went to the original Snakebird and that one was free to download, with in-app purchases. And I was like, all right, well, I'll check out the free hard one. Holy shit, this is a hard puzzle game. So I didn't find the game that I'm going to be, playing forever, but I do enjoy a good puzzle game. And so the whole deal with this is you have a snake bird. So it's like the classic game Snake, right? Where you have a length of thing and then you eat something and it gets longer, right? And so this has that mechanic in it where you have this snake bird, but when you eat the fruit, then it gets like 1 unit longer, and the whole game is played on a grid. The thing that's added to that is that it is like these birds are on these islands that are suspended over water. This is all 2D, and however they move, as long as a piece of their body is still touching ground, they can like float above things. And so, but as soon as you move off, they'll fall down to whatever's below them. So there's a gravity mechanic. And the point of every level is to eat all of the fruit, which every time you eat a piece of fruit, you get 1 unit longer. And then there will be like a glowing portal somewhere that's only unlocked after you eat all the fruit. And then you go through the portal and that ends the game. Well, as you're moving these things around, it is very quickly, and they're not kidding about how difficult it is. The difficulty ramps up like crazy. There were some levels where I was stuck on them for hours until I could figure out how to get through it. Some of the ones at the beginning are, take you a minute or two to kind of puzzle out, what they're trying to teach you. Cause the first like 5 levels or so are kind of teaching you the game, the different things you have to think about. But after about level 5, then they're like, okay, we've taught you everything. Now, got to hit the ground running. And I've only gotten through the first 9 levels. Level 10 introduces 2 snake birds, and they have to use each other to get the fruit and to get to the portal. And I have not been able to pass that level. Okay. So if you're looking for an like incredibly difficult puzzle game for free, and there are in-app purchases. So I think like the first 20 levels or so are free, and then you have to like purchase additional levels or something like that. And with a game that's this difficult, that is very much appreciated because you get to try it for free. And if it's awesome, if you absolutely love difficult puzzles, well, then maybe you want to spend, $5 or I don't know what the cost is, but say $5 for another 20 levels. Then that might be something that you're into. If you get to level, 10 and you go, I can never go any further than this because I'm just not smart enough, then you don't feel like you've wasted any money. So those are the 2 games that I've been playing this week: Prison Architect and Snakebird.
I got to look at Snakebird a little bit. It looks like a fun, and it looks easy, but from what it sounds like a small nightmare for some people.
Oh, the artwork on it is beautiful. It's well animated. Yeah. It's super cute looking. Like the little birds, or because they're snakes, but they have like bird heads. What they call them, snake bird. When they get close to fruit, like their little faces animate, like they're getting excited to like eat a piece of fruit. And then the game is such that you can mess up and get yourself stuck in a corner and to not be able to move anymore because you can only move forward. Or you can move in any direction, but you can't back up, right? And so when you get stuck in a corner, the birds like look at you like you done fucked up, son. Like they just give you this look, and it's like, oh, I did something very, very wrong.
Damn.
So, anyways, yeah, people should check it out if that sounds like fun.
There you go. That's how they get you with the nice, childish attitude, and then wham, you're done. I think I'll stick to management simulators. That's kind of more my jam. I'm also a big fan of that genre.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like, I think if anything, that would be the one I would like waste so much time on.
Oh, so much time, yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite management simulators that I wish I can find it was Pizza Tycoon 2.
I've never heard of that.
I know apparently it's a very rare game. I did not know that. Like I scoured the internet and I've like almost destroyed one of my computers with the virus because of it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm like, come on guys, it's Pizza Tycoon 2. the concept for Pizza Tycoon 2, like any tycoon, is you run a pizza restaurant. The fun thing was about this one is that you opened your one restaurant, and then there will be like multiple other restaurants open up. So you had competition. So you had to kind of like outbeat everyone else. And if you earned enough, you can open a second restaurant, and you'll have to. And you would hire your servers, you would hire your cooks, you could customize your own pizzas, and then depending on the because they had the customers, they had like everything from like the hippies to the yuppies. So you had to really cater to the audience. Like you can't just make pepperoni pizza. You can't just make vegan pizza. You had to like, okay, this area has this. One of the fun mechanics of the second game was you could actually hire the mafia to do some dirty work for you and go to other establishments and kind of like rough them up.
What? That's awesome.
So, you could like slowly like strong arm your competition away little by little, but they could do the same to you. So it was a fun game. I really want to play it again. I'm still on the hunt. Like I found it on Amazon for like $80, and like I'm not spending $80 on a game from like the early 2000s. But
according to Wikipedia, 2001 is when it came out in North America. February 9th, 2001.
There you go.
But I mean, that sounds like that's solid gameplay, and yeah, those tycoon games, and oh man, some of the others from the list, I'm trying to think. Like they had Dungeon Keeper 2. You ever play that one?
That sounds really familiar. I think I played the first one.
Okay. Because Dungeon Keeper 2 was that's that. Yep, that's what it's called. I couldn't remember if it was Dungeon Keeper or Dungeon Keeper 2. The second one, that was one of the first straight up video games that I ever played.
Really?
Yeah. Like I mean, like I've said, I played Fallout and Fallout 2, but beyond like buying games for a computer, I didn't do it that often. And so this was one of the first. It was this one, and it was Theme Hospital. Theme Hospital? Is that what it was?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, because they just had the makers of that just put out a different hospital. Yeah, Theme Hospital. 2 Point Hospital is the one that like just came out, but from like the same makers. I mean, Bullfrog Interactive isn't out, or Bullfrog Productions. They're not around anymore, but some of the people there made the 2 Point Hospital. It's pretty much a sequel to Theme Hospital in all but name.
That's another game I want to play.
Yeah, for sure. It looks awesome. But Dungeon Keeper 2, that was you were like the dungeon keeper, and you just had this like layer of dirt. Then you had to like dig out rooms and assign like different things to different rooms, and then like the good guys, the heroes, would come in and try to kill all your people and your minions and stuff, and you had to defend yourself. And that game I put hours and hours into, like ridiculous amount of hours. This game in particular, Dungeon Keeper, this was my kind of introduction to the kind of Dungeons and Dragons style of things, because I would always come up with my own stories. What would be happening? Oh yeah, okay.
And like I would try to come up with these elaborate things, and like once the game began and everything was set up, I was like, these are like the intrepid heroes go here and there, and I would like this was me being the basically the GM or DM, depending on what you're playing. And surprisingly, I've never actually played a game of Dungeons and Dragons. I've tried, but
I haven't either. I've played other RPGs, but I've never played D&D. I should get around to doing that one of these days.
It's from what I've been told from a lot of people. It's complex, but I like the idea. I listen to a good amount of D&D podcasts, and I one for me in particular, it's like storytelling that really gets me. Like if you're running a good campaign and everyone's having fun with the story, it's very compelling.
For sure, yeah.
So that's kind of the one thing that kind of drives, like I said, this is one of the reasons I enjoyed Dungeon Keepers, because I made my own stories from this game.
That's awesome.
So God, now memory lane.
Yep.
So let's kind of tangent off a little bit to continue with a little bit of memory lane. Like I said, the recent Pokemon Direct that we talked about last week, because we were like speculating for a little bit.
Yeah.
And we all got it wrong. And I was honestly not expecting the name Pokemon Sword, Pokemon Shield.
Yeah, and according to some less reputable outlets, Pokemon Gun is going to be the third one.
Whoever like did that edit did a really good job kind of getting the aesthetic, like props to that person, and like really bad to whoever the editor for that news outlet was. Like, come on, you gotta cite your sources a little bit better.
Definitely, yeah. Sword and Shield, it's a new location, and it's on the Switch. It's a main Pokemon game on the Switch, and that's amazing. That's awesome. It looks really cool.
No, look, it looks fantastic. If anyone wants to see my initial reactions to that, you can see that on YouTube. Like, I literally recorded myself for the first viewing of it, and I rewatched myself reacting to it. It was like, because like it's when the first watch through of the actual trailer, you can see it in my face. I was so happy. Because like I said, we were speculating for a little bit, and for being such a short direct, they put a lot into it. They kind of did the little trailer with the introduction of the first 3 starters. Then they kind of went to more of a presentation talking about the new region, the Galar region. They're kind of doing the Northern European, kind of the Great Britain. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, somebody was, on Reddit, of course. Like it's like England, the Isle of England, but like turned upside down, kind of. Like not exactly, but you could draw some comparisons there.
No, yeah, like the game, if I remember right, X and Y was kind of based off France. So yeah. So they have some references. So, and you can kind of tell from the architecture of the trailer, you can tell a lot of like the more modern cities like London and stuff like that. So it looks like it's gonna be fun. It's on a Switch, so the graphics like are gonna be up to, because if you look back at Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, like even though it's like a reboot, reboot of the originals, the graphics for that were amazing, and they're just upping it up for a new game, new Pokemon. Going back to traditional catching and fighting, so I'm happy about that.
This is, I think I mentioned it in the Discord, but like this is definitely making me want to buy a Switch. Like the amount of games that are now becoming available that I know that I would enjoy, and I would enjoy being mobile, are just getting like higher and higher. And if the whole Microsoft the Xbox Live thing, goes through. I don't know like how much of that has been announced or when it's going to happen or whatever, but they're saying that Xbox Live is coming to the Switch, And if that happens, then like I will not only have a Switch, but then I'll have my Xbox Mobile. And like, why not at that point? Like that's just too cool to turn down.
No, yeah, there's so much coming for the Switch. It's one of the reasons I kind of like held back on buying a Switch initially. I would have bought the console on release day, but there was nothing like there was not a good collection of games that say drop $400 for this console for 1 or 2 games at that time.
Right.
And it wasn't until like recently that I bought bought more than one, but
I have 58 Switches now, each in a different shade of green.
No, don't judge me. But I won't be doing that for a while since like everyone knows I have responsibilities now. But
yeah.
But wait, I might have to buy like the if they do come out with the Sword and Shield Switch, I might have to get that one.
Oh yeah, you think they would? Hey, since we're talking about Pokemon, are you excited for the movie, the Detective Pikachu movie? I mean, it looks pretty cool, but like seeing all the Pokemon in like this weird kind of realistic render, that looks kind of neat. And then, I mean, Ryan Reynolds, just as a voice, like he can do no wrong. I really enjoy his comedy and his acting. So like just those two things put together, it looks like it'll be a fun time.
No, when I heard his voice for the first time, I don't know, it works.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds is such a character. It's just I don't know. It fits perfectly. It's hard to see anyone else because for the original Detective Pikachu game, the Japanese voice actor had like this deep, gruff voice, kind of like an old school detective.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people were like petitioning to get Danny DeVito to play him.
That would have been amazing.
It would have been amazing to get the like, but Ryan Reynolds will play. Like he'll do a good job from what it's looking like. For a realistic version of these Pokemon, they did a really good job. If I remember right, they hired a person who like for spare time like actually did Pokemon in real life on their DeviantArt. So you can search these and like they've been posted constantly on Reddit, on Tumblr, and all this.
Oh, that's cool.
So they actually hired that guy or gal, I'm not quite sure, but they hired that person to come in and kind of help out to get an idea of what these Pokemon would look in real life. And they did a good job. Maybe too good of a job sometimes.
Mr. Mime does look very weird. but Mr. Mime always looked kind of weird, so
that's true. But his hair, is it hair or skin? I don't know, man. It's creeped me out thinking about it. But I am excited about it. There's going to be the first live action because they're also rebooting the Pokemon the first movie into like 3D animation too.
Yeah, I saw that. Is that going to be like only visuals, or is it like a reboot, like start over from scratch? Do you know?
It's going to be not like, what do you mean? Like,
well, it's not just like they took the same audio and it's the exact same movie and they just threw like 3D animation over it. It's like a new script, new acting, but it's the same story.
I believe it's a new script and everything. So
okay.
It's been updated and everything.
Yeah, updated. That's a good way to put it. Updated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be also more memories. This is like a very memorable episode. But
stop living in the past, man.
Never. I'm gonna always have those. I'll keep eating those member berries forever. That's the only way I keep going through life. Those member berries.
Nice.
But no, I'm excited for a lot of Pokemon stuff coming up. But there is do you have any other thoughts on the Pokemon at the moment?
I mean, the only thing is that since the fans really did push really hard to get Danny DeVito in the movie, I think it would be cool if he had got a cameo as like another Pikachu or something.
Oh my god!
Like if they did a thing where, like, because the shtick behind it is that only this one kid can hear this one Pikachu, and it would just be neat at one point if like we got a different point of view from someone else, or like it happened to another Pikachu, or something, and there's like a couple of lines from Danny DeVito as doing it. That would just be really fun fan service. I kind of doubt it, but it would be really nice if they were able to pull that off.
The thought that just came to me as you said that would be like, say it's like closing and everything, like the end credits and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you see Detective Pikachu, the Ryan Reynolds Pikachu, kind of like make his way back home and everything, and you see another Pikachu's father, and it's Danny DeVito.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Like, what were you doing out there with my hat and everything? Like, were you playing detective? No, Pa.
That would be awesome. That'd be amazing. And you know what? And even if that doesn't happen, fans will make it happen when it comes out digitally. They'll take some audio from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and throw it in there, and it'll be hilarious.
Oh yeah. Have you seen any of the YouTube edits of where they put Danny DeVito's voice in the Pikachu?
No, Detective Pikachu? Haven't. Oh, so people have already done it. No, I haven't seen any of that.
Oh yeah, they have already. So it's out there.
Okay. I'm behind the times.
So there's let's transitioning over to behind the times and a little bit of memory lane. The Vita just got discontinued this month.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yes.
How many Vitas do you have?
3.
Okay.
I have the original black one. I had the collector's edition white Assassin's Creed one, and I got the neon blue one.
Nice. Now, was this a system that went through some revisions, that each one is like hardware is a little bit different? Didn't they do some upgrades at one point, or am I thinking of something else?
There were little updates from the first to the last. There was some like just boost and RAM and stuff like that. Nothing too grand. Like I posted on there's a timeline. I like, after hearing that, I kind of wanted to go back and see kind of a history on game consoles and when they began and when they ended. Mm-hmm. And looking at it, like there's like the Game Boy held out. The original Game Boy held out for a good amount of time and production. Let's see here. It came out. Let's see here. The Game Boy came out back in '89 and was discontinued in 2003. I had no idea they stuck around until 2003. I didn't either. It outbeat the Super Nintendo.
That's awesome.
And
wow.
Like just looking at this is like really interesting. Kind of get an idea of.
So I'm checking out this because you posted a link to this thing, and we'll put the link in the show notes if we remember. Hopefully we will. But the Game Boy, like the original Game Boy, 89 to 2003, but the Game Boy Advance came out in 2001. So there was a good amount of overlap there between the two. And even the Game Boy Color was from 98 to 2003.
Yeah, I saw that. For a second, I thought maybe when they said Game Boy, I think maybe they were crossing it over with the Color, but no, the Color is its own thing. And that lasted for a good amount of time. Wow.
Oh, they were thinking, look at that. So the Game Boy ended in 2003, and then the Nintendo DS, which was the real successor to the Game Boy, 2004. So like they gave us the Color and the Advanced as they were getting ready to ditch all of that and go into DS land, which is, still around.
Wow. Okay. So if you're looking at that too, look at the Game Boy Advance and then look at the GameCube.
Oh, the GameCube lasted less than the Game Boy Advance.
Yes.
No.
So for audience reference, the Game Boy came out back in March of 2001. Roughly, and it ended 2018, and ended means 2008. My bad. Yeah. And that's not the games coming out. They mean is like they stopped production of the system. The GameCube came out. Why can't I do calendar months?
That's September.
There you go. It came out September 2001 and approximately 2007. So about a year. About a year. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That one surprised me.
Yeah.
That one actually surprised me a little bit. Because then looking at like Nintendo, it's stagnant. But then when you're looking at like PlayStation and Xbox, like you can just see overlapping, just one after another.
Yeah, release. Like Xbox was 2001 to 2008, 360 was 2005 to 2016, and now the One is 2013 to present. Yeah, there's nice thick overlaps for all of those. They wanted to be sure to keep as many people as they could. Same thing with the PlayStation. Wow, the original PlayStation was produced until 2006, but the PlayStation 2 came out in 2000 and lasted till 2012, and the 3 came out in 2006. And according to this, it's still being manufactured. And the 4 is 13 until now. It's still being manufactured. I didn't know that the PlayStation 3 was still being manufactured. That's crazy. Good for them.
Wow. Yeah, it's holding out, you know.
That looks like the biggest overlap out of all of the PlayStations. Huh.
Well,
interesting.
Well, when you think about it, the PlayStation 3, the hardware on that thing is like it's a cheap Blu-ray player. That's kind of one of the reasons it kind of made it big during that time. It's people found a way to daisy chain those things.
That's crazy.
So
they also had the hardware revision to like the slim version of it. So it's its internals changed, but that's cool. That's really interesting.
But yeah, but now the Vita's done, and I literally found all my Vita games because after moving and unpacking, I found my old Vita, and I was happy. And then I hear this news that it's done. Like,
but you still have your Vita. You can still play all your old games. Nothing's going to stop that, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And I don't think they'll stop making Vita games for a while. So. But it's one of those things I wanted to talk about is just how consoles have been evolving and then being cut off, and like looking at that list, it's more surprising than I really thought about it, because I just found it and I wanted to, but looking at it and seeing the overlaps and stuff like that. As far as Nintendo, it's so interesting just as a company and their development.
Yeah. Yep. So this thing called the Game & Watch, did you see that from 1980 to 1991? That's that's a DS.
The original, that weird black and white thing. I've never had it, but one of my older cousins did.
Wow, that's crazy that they brought that old design back for the DS. That's insane.
They were innovative back in the day, you know.
Yeah. Wow. Good for them.
So that's kind of a little bit more memory, but it's interesting to see because there's talks of the new consoles coming up and things like that. So
yeah, I saw something today. I think Microsoft had some kind of press release that the new Xboxes are going to keep the name Xbox One X and Xbox S or something. They're not having a crazy name change, and the new S is going to be the discless model that they're calling in the Xbox S All Digital Edition, I think is the name of it. So they're leaning into the digital thing of this is a plus. You don't need discs anymore. You just download everything, which is fine. If they want to push a cheaper model and do that, that's cool.
I'm sorry. When hearing the name, it sounds like how bad the Dragon Ball Z is, going Super Saiyan, then going Super Saiyan 2, and then it got more baffling towards the end where they went to something called Super Saiyan Blue Super Saiyan.
Oh boy.
And it got crazy. And the characters had to say, I'm going to go Super Saiyan 2 Super Saiyan. I'm going to go Super Saiyan 2 Super... No, I got it. Wait, I'm going to go Super Saiyan... No. Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan 2. Oh, it's crazy.
That's insane.
It is. Luckily, they kind of fixed it. Like, I bit my tongue saying this. I'm just going to say Super Saiyan Blue. Ta-da.
Done. There was a thing. You can find this image. I think I probably saw it on Reddit, but it was a series of like comic book panels, and it's like one Xbox X, or one Xbox One X, one Xbox One X box, like the box of the Xbox, like, and it just kept going of like all these different variations of just those words and like what they mean strung together. It's a tongue twister. It's ridiculous. But I mean, yeah, whatever.
It's
cool.
Like when they announced it originally, even now I'm still like, I get it. They were trying to do the all-in-one console, but that naming did not do it any good.
No.
It's hard. And now you said, okay, I'm going to try to say it. The Xbox One S Digital Edition.
Yeah, Xbox One S Digital Edition. I mean, just yeah. I mean, the whole thing is they'll just pare it down to like, really, you have an X or you have an S, right? Like if you shrink down the names, those are the only real differences. Is the X is the super fancy one, and the S is the small, cheap, like still living with your parents one. I
can't even like anagram that thing or anything.
It's ridiculous.
Like, if it didn't have addition and it was just the Xbox One digital, it would have been Xbod.
Xbod. The Xbod comes with a free bottle of Axe spray.
But yeah, it's getting into this new like digital field. I think we discussed this, that we like, if I remember right, like most of us have a good collection thanks to Steam of digital games. But like even Dan said it, like me myself, I'm personally a big physical person too. Like I like having something tangible to have. Well, and I do a lot of collector's editions, so I kind of have to have it. That doesn't matter.
That's hilarious. Yep. No, I mean, and luckily Microsoft understands that, and they're like, yeah, we'll give you a system with discs, and we'll still sell you discs if you want to buy them. Like, here you go. This is cool. You're going to pay more for it, but go for it. And I wouldn't doubt at all if at some point they were like, oh yeah, here is a USB powered, disk drive if you want to plug it into your S to make it a non-digital edition. Like if people want to, like they'd call it like the X upgrade drive or something, and you just plug it in, and now it has a disk tray in it. Like,
oh god,
sure, why not? Who cares?
Do you remember some of those peripherals that came with some of those a lot of the games?
Well, I know for the 360, you could get the HD DVD like add-on, and then HD DVD went away and Blu-ray took over. So that was I almost bought one of those, but I didn't. So I'm happy. I'm happy for that.
I'm gonna go a little bit more like way back retro. Like I had one of the old Game Boy Colors, and I begged my parents for this, and I got the Nintendo, the Game Boy camera.
Oh, the camera, yeah. Okay.
And like I had that, but my parents wouldn't get me the printer. So because because apparently the special paper you needed for the printer was way too expensive.
Oh, okay.
So all I could do was just kind of take photos of me and my family and friends and just kind of crop them into some of the mini games that came with the game.
Okay.
So it's like sad times, fun times, but sad times.
The printer. A buddy of mine had, or his buddy, we're talking like 6th grade or something, but he had I think it was the Super Nintendo like plug-in, so you could put your Game Boy games on your Super Nintendo. Was it? I think it was the Super Nintendo, or was it the N64?
N64.
No, I think it was Super. Was
Maybe.
it N64?
Yeah, N64, because I had that because I played a lot of Pokemon on my big screen.
Oh, there you go. Okay. And it had the thing where you could like hit a button and it would like auto colorize the game. Or if it came from a Game Boy Color game, then it would do it already. Or you could go in and like color the sprites yourself. And I remember doing that with the Jurassic Park Game Boy game, which I still to this day insist that it has the best gaming music in any game ever in the entire universe. And last time I said that, I edited the music into the episode, and I won't do that again. But yeah, that Jurassic Park Game Boy game, man, memory lane. The episode's now called Memory Lane.
It is Memory Lane now. Oh God, so many fun things that came out in there, and so many fun things coming out. And I'm glad we're living in this generation, but I'm also upset because the future is gonna have so many more cooler stuff.
Yeah,
like I when I'm old, all I want to be is in a Ready Player One style thing. That's gonna be my retirement. I just want to be in a virtual world, playing games and say, "You whippersnappers, I've been grinding this game for the last 10 years. Get away from my loot.
Get away from my loot." Oh, it's good.
Oh God. But
all right, so what other cool things are coming up in the world?
A new game called Stay Gone. Like it's been a game that we talked about back in when we were like covering like E3, I believe.
Yeah.
They just kind of got hit with a kind of like an early review. And by like if I remember, let me look it up a little bit really quick. Game Informer reported that if you just went through the main story, it would give you about 30 hours of a campaign, and that's reasonable. 30-hour gameplay.
Yeah, that's good for a game.
And one of the editors there kind of did the math and found out that there's roughly about 6 hours of cutscenes.
Ooh.
Which takes and doing the math, it'll do. That's 20% of the game.
See, like that. There's a big old like it depends attached to that, right? Because I get really into the stories of some game. If the game has a good story, like I'm locked in, even if the gameplay is so. So if this has a really good story to it, I won't mind long cutscenes. Even 6 hours of cinematics doesn't mean that you sit down for 6 hours and watch them all and then play the game. Like these are spread out throughout the game. I never had any complaints with Metal Gear Solid. Like they had long cutscenes and stuff in there and long cinematics, and that was fine. As long as the story makes sense. And as long as, it's fun, then I don't see a problem with this whatsoever. Do we have any, I want to compare this to something. What about,
the one game I can compare it to, is Kingdom Hearts, basically.
Well, there you go. There you go.
That has so much cutscenes. I'm not going to lie. I can't even deny it. That's like cutscene central.
The Last of Us. Didn't The Last of Us have a lot of cutscenes or cinematics?
Yeah, it did. But that also, like you said, that had an engrossing story. The gameplay was like reasonable. It was challenging for the most part, but like you said, the story was good and you were involved. And the thing I don't like about this article in particular, and I can hear Dan is we don't have it in our hands yet. This is just like a very early release and stuff. Like I myself want to have it in my. I want to see. I want to play it, or I want to see someone actually play it. I hate these like super early stuff like this. Like the game's not out for a little bit more, and we're already getting all this like nonsense. It like 30 hours is reasonable, and there's so much more content. That's just the main story. there's probably a bunch of side content that you're going to be able to do and stuff like that.
Yeah. This whenever that you give an hour length on a video game, like there's a big old asterisk next to that. Or like if you are a game reviewer and you have a date that you have to publish your article by, 30 hours. Like if you're more of a casual player or you're somebody who likes all the side quests or whatever, like it could easily double that number. And I agree with you that putting unfortunately this is just going to put a damper on it of people now like seeing something to hate, and now they're going to jump on the hate train about the game without ever playing it, without seeing any of the cutscenes. So in this article that you posted, which is from IGN, there's a tweet from Sam Witwer, who is the voiceover artist, and he's the same guy that did Force Unleashed, the Star Killer in Force Unleashed, and he's also a huge Star Wars fan. He did some of the voice work for the Stormtroopers in Rogue One.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's like a Lucasfilm guy. Like he does like for Clone Wars, Rebels, and probably Resistance. I haven't seen much of Resistance, but he'll do like background voices or even like he took over, or I think he did some Palpatine at one point. Or no, not Palpatine. I'm sorry. He did Darth Maul or Maul in Clone Wars and in Rebels. And if you don't know that Darth Maul's in those, sorry, spoilers, but he totally is. And he also did the voice for Maul's cameo in Solo. That's Sam Witwer's voice, because he does that voice. So he's really good voice actor. Like he's well known, and like I am totally okay with listening to him or watching him do performance for 6 hours, through the course of a game. That's fine. That's good. Give me some more. But that being said, for some context, The Last of Us, all the cutscenes in The Last of Us add up to about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So an hour and a half versus 6 hours, there's a big difference there. So, it's nice knowing going into this game that you will have, breaks that you have to take or like breaks in gameplay. And like, is that good or is it bad? Like, we don't know if it's good or bad, but it's nice to know, like, going into a game that's the type of game it is. It's very story driven, where if you were jumping into the game expecting it to be, action packed from the very start to the very end with, hands on the controller. And then if you're expecting that, then you're hit with like these long, I'm guessing they're going to be, long, like 10-minute, 12-minute, cutscenes that happen, pretty regularly. That might be a big bummer if you weren't expecting it.
No, you're basically watching like TV, little mini clips, like.
But if that's what you're into, that's really cool. And maybe there's also like they could be using, and this is something where we'll jump to Anthem in a minute here. But like in Anthem, all loading screens are just these static images that are super boring to look at and will last like a few minutes. If Days Gone uses these cutscenes to like load the levels, so you don't ever see any loading screens, you're just watching these cutscenes instead. I am 100% on board with that, because in this day and age with us, the hardware that we have, there is almost no excuse to have a very boring generic loading screen with nothing but a static image on it. How dare they?
But I do like that idea of using the time that it takes to play this cutscene to load up the next stage or event. Is there any game that does it?
Well,
because I remember back in Mass Effect when you would be transitioning, you would still get like, you would hear conversations and you would still be in game, but you couldn't your character didn't do much but just stand there and have to listen.
That was the elevator loading screens where you'd go in the elevator and there'd be like music or people talking over the intercom or whatever. But the length of the elevator was dependent on how fast your system could load the level. And, so it was different for everybody and kind of funny that way. I don't know how many other games really do that. So for Fallout 76, any kind of loading screen you come across there are like static images, but they rotate like every few seconds, and then any in-game screenshots you take go into that rotation. And that was really clever. Like you'll see these pictures that you took of your adventures and they'll pop up as loading screens and stuff. And that's pretty cool. Even like, the other thing Bethesda did with their loading screens for like Skyrim is they gave you a 3D model that you could like move around and look at. So there was like this little interactive thing you could do while the loading was going on in the background. Like
I remember that.
Like, come on, Anthem, like give us a model of our mech and like let us spin it around and look at it and enjoy the graphics, while you're loading, something, anything, but a static screen with like one line of text at the bottom. It's so infuriating. I'm so salty about that.
Wait, is the text the same thing, or does that rotate?
I mean, per loading screen, the text rotates, but I don't think you get multiple lines of text. I think it's just one.
Oh, okay.
It's like one tip, and that's the entire time. I think maybe the text does rotate, but I don't think it does.
You don't care to pay attention anymore.
Like at this point, loading screen, I pick up my phone because I know it's going to be a few minutes, and there's nothing to look at on the screen, nothing interesting at all. Just boring.
All right, so let's since we're on the topic of Anthem.
Yes.
Anthem did an oopsie.
They did a big oopsie.
They did a big oopsie. So this is concerning. This is concerning the PS4 version of Anthem. So, like some of the other, like, I don't know if you have you had your game ever kind of stall or crash at times?
The only thing that it's done, it really is disconnect me, which I don't know if that's my own internet's fault or if it's a server's fault or a combination of both. But that's the only thing that I've been hit with are disconnections. And This is on an Xbox One X. Okay. Yeah.
So from what I read on the article, and I've been kind of looking around, a small percentage, there's not like a huge amount of people, but there is a small percentage of people on the PS4 who, when their game crashes, it hard reboots their PS4.
That's bad news.
And that's if you're lucky, because if there had been reports that this crash will literally brick your PS4.
Wow.
And it's rough, and trying to fix that, you gotta almost like reset your entire, like if you have so much progress on your thing, that would suck so bad. And EA or BioWare, let me double check, they put out a statement because they haven't figured out what the main issue is that's causing this.
The article that you posted did say that the person who said that it bricked their PS4 got their PS4 running again. So yeah, they didn't really brick it, but still, I mean, this is not acceptable.
No, and Sony actually kind of stepped up a little bit and saying that any person having this specific problem happening to them, that they would refund their system back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah. Sony doing that? What? That surprised me. Like, I never heard of a company doing that because of an issue. But this is a major issue when you have to like rebuild your database, or like that's a big oopsie. Like, yeah, that's huge. And even like, I don't know how the PS4s are, but I know for the Xbox there are two different shutdown states. You've got like a full shutdown, or you've got like an energy saving shutdown where it just kind of turns off, but it stays on in the background, Sleep mode? Like sleep mode?
Yeah, like a sleep mode. I think it has a name, but whatever.
It's called rest for the PS4.
Okay, there you go. And so like whenever I have to do like a full reboot of the Xbox, it takes a long time. It's like a 5-minute boot up process, which is why I always have it on the instant on or whatever it's called, because you hit a button and it's on and ready to go in like 30 seconds. It's super fast and a big difference. And if this thing is causing your PS4 Pro to completely shut down and it's like a 5-minute reboot process, like that's a huge pain in the butt. Like that's so unacceptable.
Okay, so you want to hear the worst part? Like I've had to do this before. So the way they kind of fix the brick thing is like you just gotta go into the unsafe mode on the PS4. So anyone listening, if this happened to you, there is a way to fix it. You turn on your PS4 and you put it on safe mode, and you don't like reset your system. You just kind of rebuild the database and kind of a what is it? What is it? God, why can't I think technical terms at the moment? Defrag. It just defrags your system.
Okay.
Depending on how much data you've piled up, it can take you hours.
Oh man. Okay.
Like I've done this. I have defragged my system 3 times in its entirety. Now I will state that I have a 2 terabyte hard drive on mine that I installed myself.
That's pretty big. That's a lot of bytes.
I need it all. But the first time I did it, it took me about 6 hours to defrag that thing.
Wow.
The last time I did it, it took me like an entire day. And
jeez.
Like if this issue is happening, luckily it's not like a so high that everyone's having to deal with it, but it is something that is happening to people that they're talking about it, and I'm hoping they can patch this out. But I don't know. It's weird. Like I don't know because they did a lot. Anthem did a lot to kind of patch a lot of things that were having issues during the beta, and they did a reasonable amount, and this happened, and the game's been out 3 weeks now.
I think this is the 3rd week. So about 3 weeks. That's like, unfortunate for them.
I don't know. I like I said, I hate being the downer for this game because like it's a fun game if you can get past everything else, but there's just so much negativity and so many things happening to this game. It's just hard. They have actually. There's actually a quote or a saying now, if this happens to your PS4, they say that I got anthemed.
Oh, no.
It is a term now.
I got anthemed.
I got anthemed.
Well, hopefully that sticks around and other games can anthem us as well. You know what? I got the perfect transition. You know what else got anthemed? Sonic.
Oh God, that's okay. So we're gonna be like we were talking about a little earlier. We're gonna be talking about gaming and movies. They recently released the actual image of Sonic, and they teased this a couple of weeks ago, and everyone's like, "What are you doing?" With
the buff, hairy legs, and just like, what?
And then
yeah.
And then we just got it. We just got it. And Steve, initial thoughts?
It looks like a poor cartoon. It doesn't. I mean, if you do a comparison to what Sonic classically looks like, and by classically I mean like how he was originally drawn on the cover of the Sonic games, or even like the Sonic cartoons, which I think I watched those a little bit. I seem to remember. It doesn't look almost anything like that at all. Like they went almost full redesign. So, and in a very silly way, I think. So the best way I can describe it when looking at this, and it's hard to look at. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to look at. It looks like a human being in a stuffed like bodysuit. It is weird. It's like he's in a meat suit, and it gives me the chills, man. Like if you start thinking like that, you're not gonna you can't not imagine it. Yeah, it is. It's a person in a furry suit, and with like a giant head with like the spikes going down the back. It has very, very human hand. Oh, that's the other thing, that he's not wearing gloves. He just has white fur on his hands. And like, I mean, the shoes, I think that's fine. He has like regular laced up shoes on, which is, I don't care about that. But then like the eyes are so different. I mean, the Sonic's, traditional, his eyes are very, stylized, where it almost looks like it's one big eye, which I could see that being creepy in 3D. But what they did with it instead were these two other eyes with big old colored pupil things instead of like the beady eyes that he's had. I don't know.
They kind of like animate him, like anime style him. God.
Yeah.
So there's like, I'm sorry for the Redditor who did it. Someone actually was able to properly do an image like how they should have done it, and that would have been an amazing rendition of Sonic, having the classic look, but with some of what they're trying to do with this Sonic.
Oh, and he's got a little tail too. Look at that! I didn't even notice the tail. He's got the itty bitty tail sticking out of his butt. Oh, that's weird. This is so unsettling. Like, why did they do this to us? Like, maybe it'll like a lot of times with some of these things, they look better when they're in motion, right? Like when you see a still image of something that when you really see it on screen, it's gonna be like running around and moving. Maybe animated, this has a different look and a different feel to it. Like maybe the way the fur moves, or like the way he's going to interact with the world. Like maybe it'll be better. But just this image just does not look good. It just looks terrible.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? Okay, you know what? We're talking about Sonic, but there's a whole cast of other people that we have yet to see.
Oh, is there more than just Sonic in this movie?
There has to be,
like Tails and Knuckles and all those people.
It's like you can't have Sonic without his crew.
I could see at the very least, Tails showing up because they're very well known being like, buddies or whatever. But oh man, oh no, are we gonna see Tails next?
Like, I don't know. Oh, just thinking about it and looking at it, I just can't stop looking at it either. It's God.
Oh man.
But no, that's kind of like people listening, give us your thoughts and comments. Like honestly, like give us what you honestly think of this Sonic, and like for the most part, when it comes to films, like I'm not the biggest critic, but like for me, films, I want to be personally entertained, but sometimes when there's an existing franchise, you kind of have to pull a little from it. But when you just pull a little and do your own interpretation, I don't know. It's hard to think about.
Yeah, I mean, so the great comparison, if you go back to the beginning of this episode till now, how they did the Pokemon works. How they've done Sonic does not work. And when you look at the Pokemon and the different, like the versions of them that they've made to make them look like they're in, quote, real life, it's believable. It makes sense. It's not exactly like the anime versions of them, or the drawings of them, or even the pixel art versions of them. It's not exact, but it's enough that it makes sense. Sonic does not make sense. I guess maybe part of that is that Sonic, even though he's like a hedgehog, he looks nothing like, his animated form looks nothing like a real hedgehog. So really this is just like a random cartoon character thing that they're trying to make real. So I can see like it's not the easiest job in the world, but what they came up with, like I want to see what other versions there were, because this one I don't think is the best version of what they could have come up with.
Okay, I have a quick question. I'm looking at this, like I can't stop looking at it. How does his hair work? Look at his hair, like the top. It's
like quills, kind of.
No, not what it is. It's like, look at how it humps, like his ear.
I don't want to see Sonic hump. I'm sorry. What?
No, we're not talking about that game. That game is never to be spoken of.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that game. How does his hair work? It's
look at his hair.
tufts of hair.
His hair. Look at the way his ear kind of curves over and kind of lines up with his head.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks like if you kind of hide your finger, the two things, he looks like he has a mohawk.
Yeah, I can see how they were kind of going for mohawk, I guess.
Oh, I don't know.
But,
it just creeps me out.
It's like what is the original concept for that, for his like hair going back like that? Was it just for fun, or was it supposed to show that he was going fast?
Going
all
fast.
His hair is blown back. If that's the case, then maybe this will look better in motion. Like when he's running, his hair starts looking like that, but when he's just like standing around or talking, maybe it'll look different and kind of like flop down a little bit. But even that's creepy. I don't want any of this. No. Thank you. Okay. I hate it. Thank you. I hate it.
So I think we're gonna what we have to do. I think we're gonna have to do this together somehow. Is do a live reaction to the trailer when it first pops up.
Oh, man.
None of us see it. Like we should all do this. Like tried our best to none of us watch it. Just get on Discord, screen share, watch it, and give our thoughts on it.
We should totally do that. We should do that and record it and post that on our Discord so people can, if they miss it, then they can watch it or whatever. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Oh God.
This thing's creepy, and all it's gonna do is make furries just come everywhere. That's all this is gonna do.
and like, no offense to the furries, it's Sonic.
A little bit offense to the furries, just a little bit.
That's true. Like they're doing you a disservice. Like, but yeah, we're gonna end it. We're gonna end it at that note. A future prospect for a video for you guys, at our expense for your enjoyment, and it was a fun down memory lane until this snowball hit us in the face.
It's all fun and games until Sonic turns real.
But no, yeah. And as always, you can find us on just about any platform podcast can be found. We're on the BS Podcast Network. We are also on ouchthathurts.com, where there are music and gaming reviews and many editorials. And yeah, like Steve, you and me were able to get together. Everyone else is probably incapacitated at this time. But yeah, it was a fun time just kind of looking back at some of our gaming history and our future.
Yes.
So everyone, thanks for listening. Bye.
Good night.